जीवन्मुक्तिप्रदं देवं क्षमापूर्णं
Paramahamsa Nityananda is a rare living incarnation, a yogi by birth. He has been expressing his power of enlightenment since birth. He has authored more than 500 books in Tamil and English, books in Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Hindi, Sanskrit, Gujarati, Oriya, Bengali, Marathi, French, Malay, Polish, Portuguese, Italian, German, Danish, Spanish, Russian and Chinese, with translations in 26 languages are available. He is also an exemplary speaker with over 8,000 hours of profound life solutions through his discourses. Social services such as Annadan, free medical care, free educational services, ashrams, schools, temples, hospitals established in more than 140 places around the world offer exceptional services. A powerful spiritual healer who has healed millions of people of diseases from migraine to cancer. A Kriya Yogi who has formulated Kriyas for physical health and mental well-being benefiting thousands. A living master who offers practical solutions for our everyday problems. Having meditation centers in 151 countries including Bidadi, Tiruvannamalai, Rajapalyam, Salem, Hyderabad, Varanasi, Los Angeles, Ohio, Seattle, San Jose and Phoenix. He is the founder and spiritual head of Nityananda Dhyanapitham, a spiritual guru for 10 million followers, an incarnation who transmits the highest spiritual energy through initiation. A contemporary yogi who has revived the Vedic science of yoga worldwide through thousands of yoga centers. Adept in Ashtamahasiddhis, mystical yogic powers, he has effortlessly awakened the Kundalini of thousands, gracing them with spiritual powers. A spiritual powerhouse who has revived the sacred Vedic tradition by establishing Vedic temples worldwide in places like Los Angeles, San Jose, Seattle, Toronto, Ohio, Oklahoma, Phoenix, St. Louis, Malaysia, Brazil, Paris, Guadeloupe, Dallas, New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, Calgary, Vancouver, Singapore, and places like Bangalore, Hyderabad and Tiruvannamalai in India. A dynamic young guru who is an inspiration to thousands of youngsters. India's most watched spiritual guru online. A beacon of spiritual light who has triumphed over the forces of religious terrorism and political persecution. Paramahamsa Nityananda is an eternal Kalpataru, blessing the world with the boons of material abundance and spiritual enlightenment.
आनन्दानुभवास्वादं सर्वरोगनिवारकं वन्दे पापविनाशक्तं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतं नित्यमुक्तं निर्विकल्पं ध्यानलोकप्रदीपकं वन्दे शान्तमयं बन्धं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम् आनन्दगन्धसञ्चारं सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्तं वन्दे ज्ञानालयं नाथं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्.
I tell you, you cannot have a person like Vyasa who can describe each characters so perfectly, so well. See each character. From my experience, I understood brain has a 32 non-mechanical parts which are not awakened in normal human beings, which will be awakened only by sincerity to that line. For example, intuition. If you are constantly sincere to that line, meditating, working, only then that intuition part of the brain, which is non-mechanical for ordinary human beings, awakens See, your sincerity to awaken certain non-mechanical parts of your brain is called tapas. I am redefining tapas. Karna worked sincerely in the line of friendliness. He took that as his religion. He was ready to bend from anything, but not from friendliness and giving. Ready to give his own life for friendliness. He did not live any other great qualities, but his quality of giving and friendliness, God. His enemy's father, Arjuna's father, Indra, is standing in front of him and begging his Kavacha Kundala, his shield, so that Arjuna can kill him in the war. Knowing enemy's father is standing, asking him his Kavacha and Kundala, Karna says, what more do I need? I can give something even to Devendra, Indra. I can give for Indra. What more do I need? He gives his Kavacha Kundala, his whole life, his very life. Finally, and his great quality of giving. I tell you, just because of that one quality, he has become eternal. He became enlightened just because of that one quality. Because the last moment, this punya he gathered, the merits he gathered by giving, comes and stands in front of him, protects him as a shield from Arjuna's arrows. Again, Krishna appears there to play his drama and ask Karna, give me all the punyas you have acquired by giving gifts. What a personality. Karna gives up even that. He gives all his punya as a gift to Krishna. Of course, even if the punya is standing, you will not be able to achieve enlightenment. So Krishna removes even that shield, that veil, and gives him enlightenment. That is why when Vyasa records Karna's demise, he uses a unique word, Karna Moksha. He does not use the word Karna Vada. He uses the word Duryodhana Vada. He uses the different words for all different people. But for Karna, he uses the word Karna Moksha. When Karna falls, he uses the word Karna Moksha. I think I need to talk on Mahabharata. What a characters Vyasa is painting. What a beautiful words he is using. See, for Sisubala, he uses the word Sisubala Vata. For Gamsa, he uses the word Gamsa Vata. For everybody else, even for Dharmaraja, Yudhishthira, he uses the word Svargarohana. Please understand, he is not using the word Yudhishthira Moksha. No. He uses the word Svargarohana. Ascending to the heaven. But for Karna, he uses the word Karana Moksha. Karna is embodiment of giving. Bhishma is embodiment of social commitments. I'll talk on each characters when each characters are introduced in the next sutras, in next verses, in next slokas. Here, let me stop with introducing Bhishma. It took 1 hour for me to introduce Bhishma. God. Just to introduce Bhishma, it took 1 hour. He is embodiment of all 5 social commitments, the eternal sacrifice. See, a guy who doesn't have any quality, who can't rule a kingdom, if he gives up a kingdom, it is not a sacrifice. It is escaping. If Bhishma was ugly or not capable, and if he does not marry, you can call that as an escape, not a sacrifice. But here is a guy who was brought up specially to be a king by Ganga, teaching she taught him all the arts, everything a king needs to know, but gives up, sacrifices the whole just because of father's love.
Discover the secrets of health and wealth in one package. For the first time, a 2-day health and wealth workshop by Paramahamsa Nityananda. 100% healing for a range of ailments. Wipe out illness from body, mind and being. Awaken your body's natural intelligence and healing powers. Overcome stress and powerfully resolve your wealth-related conflicts. Discover the secrets of creating and celebrating wealth.
Let me tell you step by step how you build the patterns. First, the memory. Morning 7 o'clock, coffee is very nice. After 1 month, it becomes samskara, engram. Morning 7 o'clock, I should have coffee. After 1 year, it becomes muscle memory. Means morning 7 o'clock, if I don't get coffee, I will feel little low mood. I will feel low, feel little irritated.
Dynamic interactive awareness sessions that reveal the secrets of a perfect health and having abundance in wealth.
I will have headache. That is biomemory. After 6-7 years or 10 years, really one day you are caught somewhere, you are not able to get coffee and having headache, rolling on the ground. That is DNA level. Now understand how the memory becomes samskara, engram. Engram becomes pattern. Pattern becomes muscle memory. Muscle memory becomes biomemory. Biomemory becomes DNA level pattern.
Intense meditations and kriyas that holistically instill a transformed health and wealth consciousness in you. At Baroda from March 24th to March 25th, 2012. Contact 91 851 11-252-39.
Just because he fell for a girl. Bhishma is embodiment of social commitments. Here, Bhishma is introduced in the Bhagavad Gita first time by Duryodhana saying only Bhishma should be protected as a first priority. Wherever all of you may be standing, Bhishma should be protected as a first priority. This is the command Duryodhana gives for his whole army. Next verse. Tasya sanjanayan arsham kuruvritta pitamaha simhanatam vinadyoschaihi shankam tatamau pratapavan tasya sanjanayan harsham kuruvritta pitamaha simhanatam vinadyoschai shankam datmau pratapavan. Next verse says, then Bhishma, the grand old man of the Kuru dynasty, their glorious grandfather, roared like a lion and blew his conch, giving Duryodhana joy. You need to understand few words here. Grand old man of the Kuru dynasty. Understand, Bhishma was given a boon by Shantanu that is Ichcha Mrityu. He can choose his death when he wants. When Shantanu was pleased by the sacrifice done by the Bhishma, Shantanu gives him a boon. You will be Ichcha Mrityu. You will be able to die when you want. You will have the freedom to die when you want. That is why he lives as long as he wants. Even in the war, he was not killed. He was immobile. He became immobile. He will not be able to do the fight. He was put in deathbed. That much only Krishna was able to do. Then Bhishma waited for the Uttarayana Punyakala to happen so that he can leave the body. I can see the whole scene now. How it happened. The early morning, after the 18 days of the war, Dharmaraja comes to Bhishma with 4 brothers, the Draupadi and Krishna. Receives the teachings, goes back to rule the kingdom. Krishna gives once more Vishwarupa Darshana to Bhishma and keeps him in his space, and exactly during the Uttarayana Punyakala, the Bhishma Shankaranti time, relaxes him from the body, and Bhishma becomes enlightened, rests in Krishna. Here, the word grand old man is used to mention is an old man, but Ichha Mrityu. He can die when he wants. That is why he roared like a lion and blew his conch, giving Duryodhana tremendous joy and courage. The next verse describes Tata Shankascha Bheryascha Panava Nagakomugaha Saha Saivabhya Hanyanta Shashabdas Tumulo Bhavat. Then conches, bugles, trumpets, drums and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. The combined sound was something too much. Tumulo. Unimaginable. When Bhishma blew his conch in support of Duryodhana, the response was tumultuous. On both sides, every warrior on the battlefield took out his conch and blew his signature note. I can say the war is officially declared.
Welcome to Inner Awakening, the most powerful personal transformation retreat you could ever experience. In just 21 days, thousands are already experiencing the shortest route to constantly high energy levels, visible anti-aging, healing of chronic diseases, fulfilling relationships, and higher states of consciousness. What is the secret behind this transformation?
Kundalini means the inner potential energy. Once it is awakened, opens the different doors for the conscious experience in you. I can say which is a master key for all extraordinary spiritual experiences.
This extraordinary program is conducted personally by Paramahamsa Nityananda in the vibrant atmosphere of Nityananda Dhyanapitham Ashram. Open yourself to the benefits of Nitya Yoga and practical meditation. Experience physical and mental healing. Discover simple ways to handle life with success. Above all, enjoy individual darshan and blessings from Paramahamsa Nityananda every day. Take 21 days for yourself and carry home the transformation of a lifetime.
Officially, the war starts. Next, the Vyasa goes on to describe every step. Tatashvetair hayair yukte makadishyam danestitau madava pandavas chaiva Divyau Shankau Pradatmatuhu. See the fun. The scene goes, then seated on a magnificent chariot drawn by white horses, both Krishna and Arjuna sounded their divine conches. Please understand. First, Krishna sounds. See, if the Bhishma is sounding, blowing his conch, is equivalent. This side, either Dharmaraja should have blown or Arjuna should have blown. But everybody waits. Krishna starts. So very clearly Vyasa is describing, it is war between Kauravas and Krishna, not between Kauravas and Pandavas. Arjuna was at the forefront of the Pandava army, but first Krishna blows. Krishna starts. As a response to Bhishma, Krishna starts the conch. The description continues. Next verse, 15th verse. Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya Pauntram Tatmao Mahashankam Bhimakarma Vrikodaraha. Then Krishna blew his conch called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his called Devadatta. And Bhima blew his mighty conch called Poundra. Please understand, each conch has a unique name and sound, unique signature note. Each one of them are blowing the unique conch. Krishna has taken a vow, he will not take any weapon. But conch is not considered as weapon. Even though conch is not considered as a weapon because it can't be used to kill people, but by blowing his conch, he killed the confidence of people. Understand, he made all of them dead. They are not yet buried, but he killed all of them. Please understand. Many times, people die long before they are buried. Sometimes even 40, 50 years before. When your confidence is dead, you are already killed. You are dead. But not yet buried, that's all. So by blowing his conch, he kills the whole army. The whole army is killed. He kills their confidence. By killing the confidence, he kills the whole army. The whole opposite army is killed by Krishna just by his Panchajanya, the conch. In Triplicane, he is standing as a Parthasarathi only with conch. That was the only weapon he carried to the war field. But just with that conch, just with that Panchajanya, he killed the whole Kauravas army's confidence. Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya Pauntram Tatmau Mahashankam Bhimakarma Vrikodaraha. Krishna blew his conch, Panchajanya, and killed the confidence of the whole Kaurava's army. I can see very clearly. Bhishma blew his conch and gave life to Kaurava's army and Duryodhana's confidence. Krishna took his conch in 1 second, blew his conch, Panchajanya, killed the whole confidence of Kauravas and Duryodhana. The next verse describes, the verse beautifully describes how all others have blew their conch. Next 3 verses are together describing how different conches were blown by the different kings and warriors. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kundi Putro Yudhishthira Nahula Sagadevascha Sukosha Manipushpakau Kashyascha Parameshwasaha Shikanticha Maharataha Drishtadyumno Viradascha Satyakischa Parajitaha Drupado Draupadeyascha Sarvashaha Prithivipate Saubatrascha Mahabahu Shankan Datmuhu Pratak. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kundi, blew his conch. The Ananta Vijaya and Nakula and Sahadeva blew theirs, known as Shukosha and Manipushpaka, the excellent archer, the king of Kashi, the great chariot fighter Shikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virada, and the invincible Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and the mighty armed Abhimanyu, the son of Subhatra, all of them, O king, blew their own conches. Please understand, this is not Patanjali's Yoga Sutra or Brahma Sutras, where even one extra word is not added. No. This is Bhagavad Gita, poetry, where the whole scene is described. The stage is set. So Vyasa is using a lot of words describing the whole scene. These are all just beautiful description of scene, actually setting up a stage. When all these descriptions are given, your mind is prepared, your concentration gets centered to receive the main message, the next message. Yudhishthira, son of Kundi, blew his conch, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadeva blew theirs, known as Sukosha and Manipushpaka, the excellent archer, the king of Kashi, and the great chariot fighter Shikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virada, and the invincible Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and the mighty armed Abhimanyu, son of Subhatra, all of them, O king, blew their own conches. The stage is set. The scene is described. There is some reason why Vyasa describes all this elaborately, in a detailed way. Why he describes, we'll see tomorrow.